What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of What We Talking About on Wednesday. What we talking about on Wednesday? What we talking about on Wednesday? What we talking about on Wednesday? But today, we're not talking about what we're talking about on Wednesday. We're talking about The Bachelor, episode 5. I know I missed the last two episodes, episodes 3 and 4, but life happens. And while I could go back, I just want to move forward with the tea and the drama that is episode 5. So let's jump right into this because I have my iPad with notes to speak on. First, we want to talk about the beginning of the episode, how it started with Miss Queen Victoria. Don't even know how she's still on the show, or anyway, how Victoria and Kit are walking around, I guess, the compound of where they're staying, talking about, again, the OGs versus the new girls, and just being nasty, catty, your typical nasty girl. I really find that they were really playing up this sort of bullying mentality, and you see it throughout the entire episode. The term bully and what did they say, mob mentality, and I really think it's a real high school mentality and high school energy you see throughout the episode. So we start with Victoria and Kit talking about it. Then Matt, suited and booted, dressed in his nice skivvies, comes in and decides he wants to address the bullying. So first he kind of sits down. I guess this is before the first rose ceremony. Yeah, he decides he wants to have a conversation, and he takes aside the new girl who Anna had spoken about being a potential escort, Brittany. So Matt pulls Brittany aside and talks to her first and kind of gets her story and her side, and something that maybe it's just me that kind of took this away, but when we were first introduced to this whole Anna and Brittany storyline, and Anna brings it to the group and brings it to Brittany seems very kind of like blasé about the whole thing, kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about, that's insane. She seems very nonchalant and completely uninterested in the whole thing. Like she gave off the energy of, like, Regina George, like head bitch in charge, like, I don't care what you're saying, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not, you can't really prove it, and if you could, you couldn't come for me. Like, that's the energy that Brittany gave off when this whole storyline was first brought to our attention. But in this episode, when Matt brings Brittany aside, she starts to exude sort of a very mentally broken down person, and I found it to be a bit of an odd switch. Again, this is my interpretation of what I saw and what I took away from Brittany's first reaction when Anna brought the tea to the table. And so when she's talking to Matt, she says, I don't know why anybody would say this is so hurtful. And she didn't really give off that kind of vibe in the beginning. Maybe that was her defense mechanism, I don't know. I know for me, if anybody had ever suggested that, maybe I would kind of be like, you're ridiculous, if I know it's completely insane. Or I would be super defensive because I'm trying to get to know a man in this instance, and you're talking about me being basically a woman for hire. Like, that's not okay. But anyway, Brittany expresses that she doesn't feel great, and this feels like a bullying mentality, and she doesn't understand why Anna came for her like that, blah, blah, blah. So Matt goes and grabs Anna, and he talks to her, and she admits, I did apologize to her previously about it, and I was totally talking out of turn. I was completely off of my, it was completely unnormal of me to behave that way. And she started crying and blah, blah, blah. And Matt did what I think he should have done. And he said, you know what, honestly, I appreciate you acknowledging that you were wrong and that this wasn't okay. But for me and what I'm looking for, I wouldn't want a woman like behaving that way, basically, is what he was saying, to be, I'm trying to pursue, because he found that to be nasty, rightly so. I also think that it was his responsibility, unfortunately, because of these women's behavior, to act sort of like a principal in the matter, and having to call one person into his office and then call the other person into his office, and then somebody gets suspended or expelled. In this case, Anna got expelled and was booted from the show. I feel bad for the girl. I think that she should not have spent a lot of time talking to Victoria. I think that girl is a cancer. And I think that while Anna did utter those words and speak on it, I don't think if she had been sitting with Gossip Queen and Drama Queen at Victoria in the beginning of the conversation, maybe she might not have spoke about it the way she did, and was, like, encouraged to tell the house. I don't know why she thought that would have been a good idea and what positive thing would have come from it, but either way, Anna was responsible ultimately, and she paid the price by going home. So that was one less chick Matt had to give a rose to. As the night goes on, there's more drama brought to Matt's attention by the wonderful Sarah. I think it was Sarah, her name was. yeah, yeah, yeah. And, he decides he wants to speak to Victoria now about comments she made about it. Another girl who was, I guess, one of the new girls who was a dancer. I don't know if she meant ballet or whatever, but basically Victoria called her a hoe, and was being, in Victoria fashion, nasty. So Matt brought that to Victoria, but for some reason, Victoria didn't get sent home. Now, this is where my conspiracy theory comes in, and I truly believe that this girl was brought on the show to help cause excitement and create drama from day one. There cannot be a woman this delusional, drama-filled, insane, easily able to incite drama from other women, even though days before they were completely against her. It felt like a storyline added, sprinkled in, dropped in, casted for this show, for this season, to help cause drama. Now, like I said before, I have not watched many Bachelors and Bachelorettes to speak on it, but from what I'm seeing in the blogs, apparently this is one of the most dramatic seasons yet. And I think Victoria, from day one, was part of that excitement. This girl goes on so many delusional rants about, I'm the only one he can marry. I'm the only one worthy. I'm this, I'm that. And if you notice on the show, go back and watch this. Maybe I missed it when they showed her real job title, but it literally says under her name, Victoria job title, it says Queen. Huh? Everybody else is pharmacist, graphic designer, so on and so forth. How is it that this girl's job title is Queen? Like, you take a joke, and then it's like, okay, now you've taken it too far. Now something's wrong. I really feel like Victoria was a cast, because she spent a lot of time talking to production too and complaining to production when at first she had no girlfriends. Understandable. But then she started to make close connections with girls, and they were all kind of becoming like her and being bullies and being nasty in how they spoke about the new girls or other girls. And then you kind of see her again spend a lot of time talking to production. Something's fishy, something's mad fishy about her, and even my fiance said it. He feels like she's definitely been added to the show to cause and create drama. And spoiler alert, when she doesn't get a rose at the end of the episode, she behaves in such a childish way. It's almost like she was never truly really interested in Matt. You see her have small conversations with him, and when we saw snippets of those conversations, they never felt like real moments that the show capitalized on sharing with us. We would kind of see her talking and twiddling her hair and blah blah blah, and then she'd get interrupted and get mad, and it just felt like she was never really there to be there for Matt. She was there to be trouble amongst the women. That's my conspiracy theory about Victoria. Glad to see her go, because I felt like I was insane watching her, thinking there's no way this girl is really on the show to be on the show. So now that she's gone, I hope that crap stops, because other real dramas seem to be brewing. So as I go on my notes here, we talk about, oh yeah, right. Honestly, this whole Matt having to address the drama and pull women aside and say sternly, you shouldn't have done that and that's not fair, feels like a colossal waste of his and everyone else's time. I get that, because he's the star of the show, main person in the show, that he has to address these things and, kind of put these women in their place. But it's also seemingly so childish that grown women have to be sort of scowled or sternly talked to, and they had a finger wagged at them, telling them you're not behaving like a nice girl for the affections of one guy. It's a waste of time. It feels so childish. And as a woman, I would be embarrassed to have a man come and pull me aside to tell me I was not being nice to other girls on the playground. This is a colossal waste of time, and I think that really, if anything, production could kind of encourage conversations and encourage mending of situations, or even Chris, the host, rather than making Matt do it. It really just puts it causes and creates a weird interaction between Matt and the women, or the woman he's speaking to. Another one of the things I wanted to note was the group date that he has. He has this group date, and I found it to be very weird that he was kind of like, having this special moment with MJ that kind of highlight it. And remember, I watch reality TV all the time, so I know that they cut and chop and splice and add and copy and paste pieces and moments of the show to make it dramatic. I get it. but it was weird to see them cut and paste these moments with him and MJ, who we now will later find out is a part of drama towards the end of the episode. But cut and paste these moments of him and her having these, stealing these sweet little moments, and having the women speak on her, to then have him run off and go kiss another girl, like full on makeout, and then come. It feels like, is she a piece on the board that's being moved to cause and create drama? Because MJ always had like that sass about her, but you never really heard from her. Now that Victoria's gone, all of a sudden she's, HBIC and ready to take down whoever wants to take her down, and is having an argument with this other girl whose name I cannot remember. God forgive me. She's a pretty girl. Can't remember her name. And good for her for standing up for herself and what she believes to be right. But all of a sudden, MJ now is the girl to be watching out for, because she's ready to, as she puts it, I'm ready to fight. And it's like, is this, for me, it's like, is this how all these shows or these seasons go? They kind of have these villainous women come in to sort of not even really chase after the male or the female, let's say, I don't know, but I'm only looking at it from a male perspective in this season, and kind of cause and help create drama, because we all know women living in any competition capacity and living in close proximity are going to get nasty. That's just the way women are, unfortunately. So to watch this new set of drama unfold and have Matt speak to them before the rose ceremony, it's tired. It's tired and it's exhausting. And part of the reason why I didn't record videos the last 2 episodes is because one episode, I think it was episode 3, I fell asleep because I was so tired of seeing the same crap over and over again. He goes on these great dates, he sucks face, he goes on a group date, he sucks a few faces, and I'm just like, okay, I'm kind of wanting to have him whittle it down to like 5-6 girls to see the real connections come about, because I truly am genuinely rooting for him. And so right now, the whole, him bouncing around from woman to woman to woman to woman to woman, and having these super special 15-minute moments is like nice, but it's also like, how many people can you tell it's really important that you're here and you mean so much to me, in a week? Like, don't you get tired, Matt? Like, I feel for you. But I said I am rooting for him ultimately. So with the drama of MJ being two-faced, I feel like a lot of the women are like this in the show. A lot of women have moments where they're one way in front of the other women, very kind of rah, 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 rally, rally, rally together, or they're kind of distant, kind of like MJ and Victoria were. And then they have the other way that they are with Matt, because come on, it's like you code switch when you're with your girls versus when you're with your guys most of the time, unless, especially if the guy's new and you're trying to make a good impression. Like, let's be real here. Where they all have two sides to them in this house, but for some reason MJ's is being called out for, I guess, not being honest with Matt. And I guess if that's the way you want to get a woman out of the house to get closer to Matt, that's how you're going to do it. Hey, by all means, whatever you feel you got to do. But for me, I love reality TV. I love a good trash reality TV show. But this one feels really heavily staged in some moments, really heavily thought out in how certain interactions are happening in the show. And I feel like I'm like, am I crazy? And as I'm sitting and I'm forcing my fiance to watch with me, he's going, she has to be like for hire. Like, she has to have been casted for the show specifically. And it's like, it's either that, it's got to be that, or people are kind of just like not focusing on, I don't know. I digress. The point is, episode 4 and 5 has been nothing but tea spilling over and over again. Women snitching on each other. And that's another thing I wanted to address. The simple fact that Sarah wanted to be bold enough to go speak to Matt about the bullying energy and the mob mentality that she, it felt was wrong in the house. I commend you for speaking up for, something you think isn't right. But also, I think that you should have spoke up about it when you went to Matt. Like, if you were going to be and felt that strongly about talking to Matt about the, the energy of the house, when they were going, who said it? Who did it? Be ballsy enough to speak for it. Yeah, sure, they're going to be women mad at you, but what would be worse is if someone finds out later that you were the snitch, if you will, and you didn't speak up about it when you had the opportunity to say, yeah, to be honest, guys, I love you guys, but the way you've been treating the new girls, I don't really think is fair, and I think it's kind of disgusting. Because that's a person who's really grounded in how they feel. So while I commend Sarah for going to Matt and speaking to him about the, the house energy, I think she should have taken it one step further and admitted to the women, yeah, it was me. I said it. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you guys aren't being nasty to the new girls. Tell me you guys aren't being nasty to each other in a lot of ways. One girl went home because nobody wanted to speak to her because she had some moments of weakness. So, that was my only issue with Sarah's whole thing. And I get she might be a little bit afraid of them. But at the end of the day, they can't do anything to you other than ostracize you. And if you're really there for Matt, who cares? You should have Victoria's mentality and be like, I'm the queen. I'm the only one that matters. And, I'll bide my time, keep it quiet, keep it classy, and spend my time with Matt as I can get it. So that's my take on episode 5. The tea, the drama, and the sucking face. Lots of sucking face. Either way, I'm locked in and I'm rooting for Matt. Sidebar, I just wanted to say, I really think that people need to get over the whole because he's black, he should pick a black woman thing. It's really ridiculous. We're in 2021. The dude's gonna love who he loves. He's not like, he doesn't owe us anything. He doesn't owe black women anything. He has a lot of beautiful women there to choose from. And it really comes down to connection. If you're really telling people in 2021 that they need to pick a woman simply because of their race, you need to go back to like 1930 where you feel good. Because this kind of mentality, it ain't necessary anymore. We're going to love who we love. We're going to be allowed to love who we love. And you're going to support him because at the end of the day, he still is a black man. So that's my piece on that. This has been another episode of what we're talking about on Wednesday, the Bachelor review episode. I'll see you next week.